All right, we need to talk about the other angle. We're going to take a look at this poem, The Bells from, which is going to be California Common Core State Standard for 8th grade, number 6. Okay, and this standard says to analyze how differences in the points of view of the characters and the audience or reader create such effects as suspense or humor. So one of the ways that's done is through the use of dramatic irony, as you could see right here in the state standard. We're going to talk a lot about suspense. What is suspense? How is it created? How is it possible that we don't know this and we're in 8th grade? So suspense, let me give you a quick definition here, is a state or feeling of excited or anxious uncertainty about what may happen. What does that mean? That means you're wondering what happens, right? It's like when you watch a movie and you don't care what happens next, you just stop watching it. The director, the actors, they didn't do their job. They didn't pull you in to that movie to where you're sitting there in a state of suspense, wondering what's going to happen next. Now, in reading, it's pretty much the same thing. As you start reading poems, texts, stories, novels, you're wondering what's happened. You're into these characters. You're into the storyline. You want to know what happens next. You're in basically a state of suspense. You're being suspended, right, above this next event that's going to happen, and you're just waiting for it. You're just kind of floating there. You're just reading, waiting to see what happens, waiting to see what's going to happen. So when we're talking about this Common Core standard, we really want to focus on the point of view of the characters, the point of view of the reader. If we're able to use the words and the phrases that the author is saying to kind of paint a picture in our minds of what's going to happen or what is happening. And when we're looking at the poem The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe, it really is helpful to know a little bit background about Poe. So this poem was actually written on a suggestion from his wife's caretaker. And she literally was taking care of his wife while she was dying, and she would hear these bells. So that's why you see in the beginning of the poem, the bells have a more of a joyous kind of take to it, and then towards the end, he uses words like horror to describe the bells. Um, so you can definitely see how when we analyze differences in these points of view between Poe, between ourselves, and between the caretaker, how this can definitely have a different meaning. And that's what we're going to look at further in class. So let's get into the bells. Edgar Allan Poe, 2 thumbs up, one of my favorite American poets.